What is up, everyone? It's Kanan,
It's Jessie.
and we are the Geeky Saying Couple back with yet again another RWBY video. But this is the start of a whole new little thing we're going to do. Pretty much with the popularity of the Marvel What If series, a lot of people have been talking about RWBY What Ifs, and I know we're not the first ones that's done this. And it just got, hey, it'll be fun. Let's do a RWBY What If series. Before we really get started, little housekeeping things need to be done. We're at the end of August. September's coming very, very quickly, which means October will be here really soon. So, want to go ahead and say again, I will be doing the Halloween Game-a-thon again this year, which is pretty much for the entire month of October. It'll be strictly horror games or spooky related videos. So, look very forward to that. And for Halloween, Jess is going to be joining me for one of the games.
No.
I, I wanted to see how long I could go before I got tickled, and I looked at you in the Okay, yeah, I knew that wouldn't work. No, we won't be doing that. I really don't want to take Jess to the hospital for a very bad anxiety attack. So yeah, Halloween Game-a-thon 2021 coming this October. Hope y'all look forward to it. And you are making me bounce. You are really jiggling that leg. So yeah, RWBY What Ifs, and I've already had a bunch of people send me a ton of suggestions, so don't know if we'll be able to get to all of them, but we'll definitely cover a few. Now, this first one, as you can tell by the title, is very Bumblebee friendly. It is, what if Blake did not run at the end of Volume 3 and stayed to help Yang recover? And really, I think every Bumblebee shipper has had this what if. I think I've seen fan fiction of it. I've seen art. I've seen edits where people put Blake at Yang's house during the events of Volume 4. And Erin herself has even said, she was asked if there was one thing she could change about RWBY, and she said she would make it to where Blake didn't leave when Yang really needed her. So this is really just going to affect the events of probably Volumes 4 and 5, because I really think besides them just being closer by the events of Volume 6, it really wouldn't change much. Of course, they would probably have been together by now if this had happened. They would probably be a little bit more in tune with their feelings than they are right now. But Volume 9 still hasn't aired. Sadly, it's not airing until 2022. So we'll just have to wait and see. So yeah. So the first question that comes to mind when you talk about what if Blake stayed is how would that affect both of their character arcs that both characters went through for them to be the characters they are now as of Volume 8. Now, starting with Yang, I don't think much would have changed, because she still would have been home. Ty still would have trained her, taught her to be a smarter fighter. It's just that I don't think, because here's the thing. We knew Blake leaving her upset her, but she still has the trauma of losing her limb, because that's something that's going to take you a while to get used to, no matter who you are. If anyone claims they could lose a leg or an arm and they would just be normal by the next day, no, that's not how it goes. You would definitely have, Yang had nightmares, so you'd probably have nightmares, and I forgot the term, but I do know there is something you do kind of go through when you lose a limb. And so she would still be battling with that, but, of course, she would no longer have, like, the bitterness, I guess, she had toward Blake there for a little bit. So, yeah, Blake would be there, to talk to her, help her get through it, maybe reinforce a lot of things that Ty was teaching Yang, and maybe help her in some of her fighting training as well, because, Blake can hold her own just as well. And we saw in Volume 7 that they do train together, so that is definitely something that would happen. And I definitely do believe that the romance between the two probably would have started around this time as well, though Blake would have been hesitant because, Yang's in a very vulnerable state. She's still dealing with, Blake herself is still dealing with stuff. And so we would probably have gotten more hints by then, but I don't think they would have. By the time they left Patch, I don't think they had been together yet, but they definitely would have been closer than they were by the time they got together. We're back together by the end of Volume 5.
I mean, yeah, but I mean, there's also,
Yeah,
I don't think it would have really changed the PTSD that both of them have.
Yeah, I wanted to pick your brain on that in case I forgot anything.
Because, I mean, you don't really get over PTSD, any type, so it would probably affect that a little bit, but Blake being there, it'd probably help each other, but there's still the looming fact that, Adam's still there.
Mm-hmm.
So it wouldn't exactly... It wouldn't affect it too much because they'd still have to get to that point where they fought him for the door to close for them to start moving, moving on, yes, but healing from that to be able to deal with it.
Yeah.
So, I mean, even her being there, it would still be there. It's not like it's going to eliminate it because, I mean, Blake's got that from her past, and Adam, and then Yang because of losing an limb because of Adam. So it's...
Yeah. So, yeah, like, they would still be two very... They would still have their own separate issues. Yang with her PTSD and Blake with, her past. Her guilt of this happening to Yang because of her. So, but I do think in some ways it might have gotten Yang back into action a little bit faster than what it did. Maybe Blake being there could have helped her gain the strength to face things head on again way faster.
The thing is, it wasn't just, what happened in the PTSD that she was suffering from all of that. Because, I mean, again, you said it's very traumatic.
Mm-hmm.
But what was fueling that even more is the fact that Blake ran.
Yeah.
So it was fueling it, and that made her delay even more, not get back in action. That fueled what was already there caused by Adam.
Yeah, and they didn't showcase it as much in Volume 4 as I wish they did. I mean, we got the small things like her looking at the stack of books and stuff like that, and in some cases them switching from Yang to Blake, but we really didn't...
They left it more subtle.
Yeah, we really didn't know how deep it really went until Volume 5 when she did the whole, what if I needed her here for me and stuff like that. So that's when we learned that Blake, like, we kind of knew it at the end of Volume 3, but since there wasn't much said about it in Volume 4, people, started wondering, did they, are they just not going to touch upon that? But then it wasn't until Volume 5 where we learned that Blake leaving really affected Yang to the point where it just really bothered her. And, it was around this time people started complaining that Yang was no longer the happy-go-lucky blonde party girl that she always was, but it added depth to her character. She couldn't remain to be that way throughout the entire series, especially as the series got darker and more serious. So,
well, that's kind of like saying, when you're like a teenager and nothing in the world bothers you, you can't stay that way forever. You have to actually look at reality. Yeah, she's still the happy girl that she was, but she has to take a more serious tone to deal with certain things, because jokes and puns aren't going to make things go away.
Yeah, I mean, pretty much.
It helps make others laugh and helps ease things, but...
Strawberry sunrises are good, but they're not that good. But yeah, like, we've definitely seen around Volume 7 and 8 that she is starting to get, like, back to how she was a little bit, but the characters are growing up. They're becoming more adult-like. And,
her being as upset with Blake leaving also, which is also why I don't think it would change too much, because it's clear there that the feelings did start back at Beacon. Mm-hmm. I mean, it's... because obviously you wouldn't react that way if she just looked at Blake as her partner, which she is. Mm-hmm. I mean, out of the team of 4, that is her partner. But you wouldn't react that way if that was just the thing. Mm-hmm. So I do believe it would at least play a role and change some things for the better out of that. And like you said, she probably would have gone back into action sooner. Mm-hmm. But it also, that's just one thing that wouldn't be left out. We'd see probably more feelings, but we'd also not have that connection of, okay, there's more feelings there because she's really upset. It's not just a partner and friend leaving. That's more to this.
Yeah.
But, I mean, it would change it at least a little bit.
Yeah, because...
if she was still there.
Yeah, because there would still be issues that would need to be resolved, by the end of Volume 4 if Blake had stayed. And that's where, because with, moving on to Blake would still have her past haunting her.
Which is another form of PTSD, which it's because of what Adam did, so it would take them both time to work each other's things out, but also help each other at the same time, which would have been interesting to see. Yeah.
And the fact that in this scenario she didn't run and she stayed might show that this version of Blake maybe had a bit more of an inkling that running was not the right way to go. I mean, in reality, Blake leaving, she felt like she was doing it to protect Yang and Ruby and Weiss from the mistakes she made in the past. But this version of Blake is like, maybe this version, instead of just straight up panicking and running, maybe stopped and thought, if I leave, it's going to hurt her even more. And I don't know, maybe just have a epiphany that Adam's going to follow her no matter where she goes, and more than likely Yang's going to find her way to her anyway. And it's, and Blake had to have known sometime that because Adam was the one that took Yang's arm, Yang would eventually maybe want to find him and kick his ass, maybe, Yeah.
I mean, at the time and the state of mind that she would have been in at that point, already having to deal, with Adam being stabbed by Adam, and then seeing directly watching what happened to Yang because of him, and, laying there apologizing to her afterwards, it's like, in her mind at that point, I'm here, he followed me, and look what happened to her. Yeah. So that's, there's a lot to that, which plays off of the, everything from her past, her own, fears and all that she's constantly living through, the trauma that she had, says, well, I need to leave. Yeah. But if she stayed like that, in that mindset, she could have said, well, if I run, there's also another thing. She could think, okay, well, if I run, even if he's still out there, what if he targets her again to find me? Yeah. So it could be another way, if I leave, and that leaves her vulnerable in the state that she's in. So that could have been another mindset that she could have had in this scenario.
And, if I may be remembering this wrong, but, in Volume 4, it really seems like after Beacon, Adam really didn't go after Blake right away. He only really wanted to go back after her once she arrived back in Menagerie and started getting in the way of his plans to take over.
Well, he was going to go after her either way.
I think so, but it wasn't established, I don't think, right away. Or maybe I'm remembering it wrong.
They didn't. It was hinted. It wasn't shown. They obviously left that until we saw that he was literally stalking and following her.
Well, yeah, but that wasn't until Volume 6.
I know, but after Beacon, I think what it was is he retreated to his next task, which was taking Sienna out.
Yeah, I think he was way more at that time concerned with that.
He wanted to take over and lead. Yeah. Then go back after her. Yeah. And he was having minions do it, pretty much.
Yeah, but then Blake got in the way, and then that's when he
escalated it even more and made him more angry. Yeah. So, but yeah, it's just, he went after her. He retreated to do the next thing that he needed to, pretty much regrouping and taking over as leader. Then
so
he was probably going to figure out how to find her again and deal with her, and then when she got in the way, that escalated. He goes, no, we're doing something now. Yeah. So That's why it escalated the way it did up into 6.
Yeah, so...
Which kind of makes sense that's where his end was anyway. It led to that point, if you actually really logically think about it.
Yeah, so going over that... So this version of Blake, I don't want to say was more braver, because I really don't think Blake was ever a coward. She just thought things a certain way and, felt like that was the best way to do things. So Adam's not going to come after her right away because he's preoccupied with taking out Sienna and taking over the White Fang. So they have a period of where they don't have to worry about that. Now, like I said, Blake being there might have helped Yang recover a bit faster. So it's not, by the time Yang and her leave Patch, it's not as late maybe in the series as it at the beginning of Volume 4 was. Because of course not, because, Blake's not on the boat to Menagerie yet. And of course, why Yang wouldn't go after Ruby right away. Well, she knows Crow is with Ruby. She knows Ruby's in safe hands as of right now. Because, I'm sure Ty told her, Crow is watching over Ruby, you would think. But I don't know, did Ty ever know Crow was with Ruby? I'm sure he did. He had to know.
Well, think about it. Because, if she went to Raven because she knew she could get to Crow.
Yeah, that's right.
So she had to.
Because Yang knew that if she... that's right, because she said if she tried to look for her on her own, it'd take forever. So, yeah, we're not...
And I think Yang also knows that Crow is always close by.
Yeah.
I think she kind of figured that out sooner than Ruby did.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, you're right. So, Yang's a bit better, but, so, of course... Yang wakes up from being passed out. Blake is there with Ruby, so Yang might not be as bitter as she was when she first woke up in 3, but she's still going to be probably about the same, I'm just going to lie here, sometimes bad things just happen, Blake, cries, tells her she's sorry, this is all my fault. Maybe that gets Yang to falter a little bit and be like, no, it's not, I did what I did, because I wanted to save you, and stuff like that. And
yeah, we could see a whole other side of why she did that action.
Yeah.
Which, we obviously know, but, actually her verbalizing it to Blake so she can understand, which... at this point, it's obvious that Blake knows why, because they've probably talked about it, which... obviously off screen, and it would have been nice to see, but that's not something that really needs done because the whole context of it itself
was pretty much taken care of during the fight with Adam.
So I didn't, that's not something that we really needed to hear to talk. Yeah. So, yeah, if it's done visually like that, then it's done well like that.
Yeah.
To see things.
And I'm sure at some point, maybe Yang's already went to bed or something like that, and Blake is still beating herself up over this. I'm sure Ty would have had a moment with her, talked to her, being like, hey, Yang doesn't blame you. I don't blame you. Ruby doesn't blame you,
Nobody does.
You obviously mean a lot to her, and that's why, he might have said something like, I would have done the same thing for either Summer or Raven, She
could have had a moment with Zwei.
Yeah.
Like we did in Chibi.
Yeah, so,
she could have had her, well, okay, we can do this.
Yeah. So, eventually, Yang gets better enough to, go out on her own. But Blake still needs her arc wrapped up. So, Blake states, I'm going to go home to Menagerie. I need to take care of my own stuff. And in this version, Yang offers to go with her because, like I said, this is a bit earlier in the timeline. So, she would not be as in a rush to go find Raven to find Ruby right now. So they board the ship. And now here's the part where I don't want to just leave Sun out because I don't want to be pointed out as, oh, of course, Bumblebee shippers, you just wipe Sun out of the way. Yeah, he still shows up, but his role would be really diminished in a way or Yang would tag team with him and showing Blake that the way she's thinking is not the right way.
I think that fits a bit more. I think like he'd obviously still play an important role like he did.
Yeah.
But Yang would also, work with him. It could probably, it would help Blake in another way. It would be more than just one voice saying something.
Yeah. So they
Of course, we wouldn't have that unless Yang's off doing something. We wouldn't have that moment of what he says when he's, healing.
And so, all three of them defeat the Sea Fang Long Dragon together. They all arrive in Menagerie. Yang gets some looks because, she's human. Which I don't know if Blake ever stated if humans are even welcome there, but I mean, I'm sure.
I'd assume that there's some faunus that are probably married to humans and live in Menagerie.
I mean, maybe.
So,
but I'm sure she would get some looks being just human. But of course, Yang loves it there. It's a tropical island. It's the beach. It's tropical weather. She probably loves it. She's probably geeking out with Sun, and of course Blake is brooding, being like, this isn't a good thing. They pretty much
shoved us here.
Yeah. So, and Yang probably has the same reaction to Blake's house as Sun did. They both probably look at each other and are like, "What the hell?" And the same, meeting her parents. Because in this timeline, I think it's fair for Yang to be there because Blake met Tai, spent time at Yang's house. Yang needs to meet the Belladonnas, And of course they do.
We still need at some point.
Yeah, and of course they do. Of course, Yang makes a way better impression than Sun. Sun pretty much makes the same awful impression he does in the original version. This is also going off the fact that Erin said that she really thinks Gira would like Yang more than he did Sun. So
I do. Thinking about like how he is and all that, I really think so too. And
he would want to spar with her.
Though I really do like the I really don't like you.
So, Yang impresses the Belladonnas. Gira, of course, is cold towards Sun, but likes Yang. Callie can already see the spark that's growing between Blake and Yang. And really, the course of Volume 4 into Volume 5 goes about the same as far as the events in Menagerie, except in this case, both Sun and Yang get hurt by Ilya, though Ilya hurts Yang a bit more because just like Adam, she sees Blake's feelings toward Yang. So, pretty much the same stuff goes on, but eventually Yang's like, I really need to go find Ruby. Like, I know what's going on here is important. I'm on your side, but eventually I need to go.
Pretty much, I need to find her. We need to get
the band.
Team back.
We need to get the band back together. Yeah, and at first, Blake being Blake, I could see her being a little upset, but that's where Sun would also be very helpful, being like, "Hey."
That's where his advice and words to her could come in as well.
Yeah,
that he did say.
Yeah, like, hey, Yang cares about you a lot, but she she cares about her sister. Though I don't think Blake wouldn't have been selfish or anything. She just would have been a little sad that Yang was going to leave. Now, I do think Yang would stay just for dramatic effect. It's going to be before the events of Blake and them Blake's family getting attacked, just for dramatic purposes. So Yang's getting ready to leave. Her and Blake have a talk, and this could probably be where it could have been confirmed that they do love each other. Maybe Blake giving Yang some kind of keepsake, and be like, hey, this isn't forever. I'm pretty sure. They were heading for Haven. Won't you just meet us in Haven once you're done here? Because Yang does not know that Adam's going to attack Blake's family. I don't know if there'd be a kiss. I don't know if there'd be a confession, but there would be something.
That could be the start of where, like how now we know, yes, it's confirmed there is romantic feelings.
Mm-hmm.
It could have been at that point that we would have been confirmed with romantic feelings.
Yeah.
So it would have been earlier in the stages, though they still would have a long way to go from there.
Yeah, and in this version, both Sun and Callie get busted for spying on them. and it's Gira that does it. But so yeah, Yang gets Bumblebee, heads off. It's a very emotional send off, and all that. And then pretty much it plays out just like it originally did. Yang goes and finds Raven, reuniting with Weiss along the way. Blake, deals with Ilya and the White Fang trying to assassinate her parents. She brings Ilya back to the good guys, and then, they learn about the attack on Haven. She's like, oh crap, Yang and Ruby are heading there. We need to do something. We need to get there, and all that. Now, as far as Yang's dramatic talk with Weiss, only way I could see it still happening is if she thought maybe Blake would have caught up with them by now or something like that, and maybe she's getting worried, and Weiss just be like, it's fine, she'll be okay. And then pretty much from then on, Volume 5 plays out the same way, except when Blake shows up, it's a bit different. I think Ruby and Weiss would react the same way they still did because they had not seen Blake since then. But with her, and we wouldn't get the whole Yang and the disbelief on Yang's face. They're still in the middle of a fight, but there would probably still be like a look like you worried me there, or something like that. Once again, still plays out like Volume 5 always did. When Yang comes back up, they all do the hug when they all four back together, though you wouldn't have the tense, waiting for Yang to accept Blake back. Yeah. It would be way different, maybe them showing a little bit more affection to each other and all that. And then after that, Volume 6, 7, 8 are still basically the same. It's just that they would be more of an established couple by now. I think it really would have been more established by the end of Volume 6. But then, you got the whole, they really didn't need to kiss or anything after killing Adam or anything like that. The flirting and all that would have been more intense in Volume 6. I think there's really no place to make them really confess or anything during the events of Volume 7, though I would have added the going out to the dance club. Definitely would have added that. Same thing for 8. Like, you have their reunion, but like it's always been said, if they had kissed right there, it would have taken away from everything else. So I think in no matter what timeline, I think Volume 9 is the best time for a kiss. Because like I said, Blake thought Yang was dead, and all those emotions are just going to come out. Blake's going to be like, I've almost lost her twice now, and I'm just, I'm scared. I'm just going to keep on putting it off, and I'm going to lose the chance. It just, Volume 9 just, I know I've said before Volume 7, I said we'll get the kiss. Before Volume 8 happened, I said we'll get the kiss. In my gut, Volume 9 feels different. Not just from what RWBY has said. I, gut feeling 100% in my heart, feel like Blake and Yang are going to kiss in Volume 9.
I mean, that's where my feelings are. I mean, I know I'd hoped for it in other volumes, but I never felt like, yes, I never felt as confirmed as you tried to be. But I mean, yeah, I wanted it, but it just, there was no place for it yet.
Yeah.
I just never felt this confident that, yeah, I think so. I mean,
yeah, because 7 and 8 really did not have any time for there to be a 100% focus on Blake and Yang. And I mean, RWBY did a good job with the whole, every time they would switch between both groups, showing small little subtle hints that Blake and Yang missed each other, and they paralleled it with Nora and Ren perfectly.
Yeah.
And
especially since they also took the time to actually first focus on
one group and then the other. Yeah.
But focusing on Renora first, and then leading it to now, in 8, where the next step for them that they needed, leading it to that, which also would lead to why that they didn't have a focus, which would leave 9 for them to have a focus, especially since they left it to now. They'll stay together and need to grow. Okay, step back, next couple to build. So it kind of played out like like it should have like that.
Yeah,
so.
because in 8 we had the small things like, do you think she thinks less of me? Blake bringing up, calling Yang a few times, or like I forgot which episode it was. But Blake was like they were in Weiss's room, and she goes, I hope the others are okay. I think she really wanted to say I'm worried about Yang.
Probably.
But Blake finally getting a hold of her in the call, their reunion, Blake's reaction to Yang falling, like the pieces are set. We are at that glass ceiling and we are about to shatter that mofo. Like, if they don't kiss in Volume 9, I have no idea where else it could be. Because we're trapped in another world. We're probably mostly just going to cover Ruby, Weiss, Blake, Yang, Jean, and Neo. Like, that's it, more than likely. We may have a little switch over to the other characters to see what they're doing. But, RWBY has said there's going to be more character interactions this volume. Like, it has to happen. We've had all these other shows that have kicked that forbidden door way open. With Kurosami paving the way. Then you've got She-Ra, you've got the Owl House. It is RWBY's time in Volume 9. I've just got that feeling. Like, Blake is going to run into Yang's arms. She is going to cry. She is just going...
I can't see it not happening, especially after, her reaction to her falling alone.
Yeah, because it's very unrealistic for Blake to have that reaction in Volume 8 of Yang falling, and then when they show up, them do nothing. Her having no reaction at all.
Yeah, like her falling, her reaction, the scream, and then the anger that followed when she went after Neo.
Yeah,
so it's there's no way around that.
If they do nothing with that, for the first time, I will accuse RWBY of bad writing, because that's not good.
I'm sure you won't be the only one.
Yeah, but I have full faith.
I really don't think.
Nah, I think they will do
Everyone wouldn't be, and this isn't just about, Bumblebee, but there's others, the other points and stuff, that obviously is probably going to be happening. RWBY wouldn't be this excited to take the extra time to perfect this.
Yeah, everyone's saying it's their favorite volume.
Yes, there's favorite volume, favorite lines, or, when's your favorite part? It hasn't happened yet. Well, I mean...
And Carrie said, and it was either Carrie or Eddie that said that this volume is going to have some of the most touching and emotional moments in the series history. I'm like, it's happening. It's got to.
Among other things, with our theories and stuff like that. If it's going to be emotional, it's going to be a whole bunch of things.
If CM Punk can come back to professional wrestling, Bumblebee can kiss in Volume 9. That's all I'm saying. Okay, we've went way too long. We better get off here before people... I don't even know if people will watch this all the way to the end. But yeah, that was just a small little what if. Pretty much very fan fiction-y, yes. But, I mean, that's the fun of what ifs. They're pretty... anyone that does a what if series, like the Marvel one, it's pretty much fan fiction in a way. So yeah... Like I said, we've got a whole entire list for other topics. The ones that we definitely want to do, there's a lot that involve Blake and Yang, like what if Blake stayed with the White Fang? What if Yang was raised by Raven? There's one we got where Weiss pretty much kept the same attitude that she had in, Volume 1, still trying to be like her dad in a way, like a stereotypical Schnee. What if Weiss never changed? There's just so many. That's just the ones I can think off the top of my head. I'm sure there's one where, what if Pyrrha survived, and stuff like that. So, hope you guys enjoyed it for this first episode. Don't know exactly what we're going to call yet. I don't want to call it just RWBY What If, because I'm pretty sure that's been used before. But we'll try and think of something. But as always, guys, this is Kanan.
This is Jessie.
We love you all very, very much. Stay safe out there. Take care of yourselves. And if you enjoyed the video, please hit that subscribe button, hit that notification bell, click that like button, leave us a comment, and we will see you in the next one. Bye.
Bye.